All right, Ian, thank you. Joining me now is Yaёl Eisenstat. She is a senior policy fellow at Cybersecurity for Democracy, a collaboration between NYU and Northeastern universities. Yael, thanks for joining us. I'm curious, when we see a rise in hateful rhetoric online, does that always or usually correlate to a rise in hate out in the open?
So I don't know if we have direct data with correlation numbers, but what happens online never stays online. And so, I mean, we have example after example of when the rhetoric really starts becoming more hateful, more racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, misogynistic. We do see real consequences of how this plays out offline as well.
We heard from Steve Osunsami's report just a short time ago, Black and brown Americans are receiving racist texts. How do the people who do this find so many targets at once, let alone gain access to their contact information?
Yeah, so this is actually a really concerning situation because it's not just a one-off where somebody received a racist message. Somebody had a list of names and phone numbers in at least, I think at this point, it's up to at least 14 different states, different ages of Black Americans across the country, and sent them all these racist messages. How does someone get a list with so many names of one particular group of people? And that comes from either campaigns or organizations or advertisers or data brokers. These are the types of folks who are gathering this kind of data, generally with the purpose of being able to target you with something, whether that's an ad for sneakers online or in this case, something terrible like racist messages.
So we don't know right now who's doing this, but if it's a foreign actor or a domestic actor, how would their goals be different?
Sure. I mean, if it's a foreign actor, depending on the actor, this just smacks of what we've seen over and over again during our election cycles. A foreign actor potentially trying to sow even more discord, distrust, fear, anger in an already volatile time, possibly just to undermine our social fabric. If it's a domestic actor, it could just be somebody who was completely emboldened by the heated increase in this case, racist rhetoric that we've been seeing. Or it could be somebody who has an actual intent to cause harm. We just don't have enough information yet to know which of those it is.
Either way, it's scary when you're one of the people in 14 states targeted because of the color of your skin. Regarding data privacy and security, is there something that companies can be doing that would better prevent hateful, unwanted messages from winding up in people's inboxes?
Yeah, so I was at least encouraged to see that one of the companies that was used, and it's one of these companies where you sign up, you get a phone number, you get to start sending anonymous messages via this phone number. At least they acknowledge that this was a campaign, coordinated campaign, and apparently have disabled those accounts. But more importantly is anybody, any company that is gathering data, segmenting people based on their very personal information, we have to figure out how to secure that better, and we have to start thinking about what it means to be in a world where every bit of our lives and our personal data is hoovered up for the purpose of targeting us with ads. We've got to figure out how to be safer in that respect.
And just before you go, while I have you here, I got to ask you about Ian Pannell's report that we just saw on the Israeli soccer fans attacked in Amsterdam. I know that details are still coming in, and you're not here to talk about the investigation, but how can authorities help curb the calls for violence on social media, because some of these things are organized?
Yeah, so this is one example of multiple. I've heard some stories so far of this unfolding situation that some of the calls were actually organized online. And again, as I said at the beginning, what happens online does not stay online.
That's the fear.
Whether it's because people are being radicalized by what they're hearing, or whether it's actual incitements to violence. And one of the real challenges in the U.S., I can't speak to how Europe handles these things a little differently, but here in the U.S., I will say there's this false dichotomy that we seem to believe that freedom of speech means we can't in any way curb some of this online. And I just think that is a false choice that we're making as Americans, because being able to say terrible things, that's the price of free speech. Organizing and inciting violence is not protected free speech, and how social media's companies handle that kind of speech, whether they're amplifying it, boosting it, recommending it, is a whole nother question that we really need to grapple with.
So we will have you back at another time to talk about it. Yaёl Eisenstat, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.